You're with me, Dr. Eric Aidoo, with the Department of Anatomy and Cell Biology, and we're talking about the role and significance of folic acid in embryogenesis. Good morning, Doc. Welcome to our studios. A privilege to have you here.
Good morning, Nana. It's pleased to have a meeting like this with you.
And I'm glad. And let me first and foremost say that you look apt, and everything is on point with you this morning. I'm sure we are poised for this particular conversation. People take folic acid. People have heard about folic acid, its importance, its role, and formation of a fetus and all that. That's why we gathered here. But first and foremost, I want us to begin with what folic acid is, just to lay a foundation so we can get on to some other.
Absolutely. Thank you once again for this opportunity. I'm here to educate and impart knowledge. So as you said, folic acid is one of the B vitamins. It derives its name from a Latin word known as folium, which actually stands for leaf. Yeah, so we know of other vitamins, vitamin A, vitamin C, etc. So we have folic acid as one of the B vitamins. Because of the name, you can also conjecture where you can easily find these B vitamins. I've already said that it comes from the Latin word folium, leaf. So anything leafy, green leafy vegetables.
Examples of these?
Like our contumelies, our alefis. It's also
like
found in cereals, in fruits like watermelons, oranges, bananas, and a few berries as well. Yeah.
It's interesting because you hear doctors most often than not, when people have low blood levels, they tell you take folic acid, take all these things. But why is it important? Why must we take folic acid?
Okay. So vitamins in general are organic substances which are taken in small quantities by helping essential body metabolism. So we can liken it to, you want to build a house, you know the requirement, the materials you need, stone, cement, sand, etc. But you need water, for instance, to help in mixing the mortar in the right quantities. And you may not need water in that amount as you need cement, just small quantities. And just like salt in our kitchen, we need just a little to drop in our food to make it tasty. So tasty, that is how the vitamins are, very small quantities, and yet they play an essential role in body metabolism. One of the basic things they do is to help build cells. And cells are the structural and functional unit of any organism. So cells come together, they form tissues, tissues come together to form organs, and organs come together to form the organism. So in effect, if the foundation is weak, it means that your cells are going to be weak, and therefore you can't even form proper tissues. Yes. And the most significant aspect of taking folic acid is for the development of the embryo. When we say embryogenesis, just like the word Genesis in the Bible, one of the books,
the beginning.
The beginning. So it's like the beginning of the embryo, formation of the embryo. When a male and a female meet, their nuclei unite to form a zygote. So it is this zygote that develops to become the embryo. Now, it's very critical because sometimes pregnancy come and the woman is not even aware that she's pregnant. And that is when the crucial development of the body starts. Yes, so it's very important for women who are expectant, those who want to be pregnant. It's so important because by the time you realize you are pregnant, you're actually looking at the following month, whether your menses is going to come or not. So,
and interestingly, some people do not even realize they're pregnant until the menstrual flow is halted, and then they go to the hospital. They tell you you're about some weeks pregnant, you know.
And that is so critical. Those weeks you've just mentioned is so critical. The first 4 weeks of pregnancy, when the woman is not even aware, that is when you have critical formation of vital organs like the brain and then the heart. So we call something neural tube. And the neural tube I will demonstrate with a single sheet of paper. when the baby is developing, it's as flat as a paper, this in my hand. Now, in the course of the first 3 to 4 weeks, this sheet will fold in the form of a tube. You need folic acid to cause the migration of the cells to help it to fold completely into a complete tube. Imagine if the tube is hanging this way, it starts to fold and then it becomes open at a point. That is what lack of folic acid does. And this tube that is formed is going to form the spinal cord and the brain. So it means that if the tube is not well closed, you are going to have a spinal cord which is open and a brain which is also opened or not well formed. That's what we call the neural tube defects.
And some of these effects, I mean, we hear of spinal bifida, we hear of quite a number of things. What are some of these? Okay, we'll get into the effects, all right, but who should take folic acid and why?
It's a very
men, women, which group of individuals? Who should take it?
Yes. So any woman of reproductive age, i.e., any woman who stands a chance of getting pregnant, you have unprotected sex, it means you can get pregnant. So you have to take a tablet of folic acid daily. And if you are caught unawares and you realize you've missed your menses and it is also confirmed that you are pregnant, it's not too late to start taking folic acid. Because like I've said already, the first 4 weeks of development is the vital stage. So women who are pregnant or you are expecting to be pregnant, you take folic acid 1 tablet a day. There is a specimen here that I brought.
Unfortunately, we're not streaming, so yes. You wanted, but I see some fetus, if I may say, a baby but this is real, right?
This is a real baby, yes. A real baby, and you can see that the head is not well formed, so part of the brain is open. So it's a type of spinal bifida, as you said. You have different types. So lack of folic acid causes what we call craniofacial anomalies. So cranium, as in the head has a bone, and if it's not well formed, it's going to be exposed, and the tube that forms the brain, as I demonstrated, was not well closed because of folic acid deficiency. So this is a clear example, and we find some of these things even in our society.
The same as what they call anencephally?
Yeah, absolutely. So it can also result in cleft palate, which is what we find in our communities most of the time. You find
when they are born, there's a hole and opening at the upper part of the buccal cavity.
Yes, it could be the lip, it could be the palate, or both. So the palate is the hard portion of the roof of the mouth. So you can see people with the lip where the curvature is on the top of the lip, the upper lip, is not well closed, because in the formation of the lips too, you have 2 parts of the lips coming from left and right, and they meet in the midline. So if they don't join in the midline, then it is left with what? A hollow foramen or a furrow known as the cleft.
And these are aided by folic acid?
Absolutely. Lack of it, deficiency of folic acid.
I mean, for it to be closed, yes, you need folic acid to do that.
Yes. So cells move, they migrate to special points of the body, because like I said, when you have the embryo, in the first 2 weeks, we call it the bilaminar disc. It's just flat like a paper. So how do we tend to have this body form from a flat paper like this? It's because cells move and migrate, and that's what we call lateral folding, as body folding, to make sure that you get the complete body structure. And all these are aided by molecular signals, which are helped by this folic acid to do their work.
At what point should folic acid be taken?
So once you know you are pregnant, you start taking folic acid. But it is even more important to start taking it if you know you are expecting a baby, you want to be pregnant. So there's something called prophylaxis. If you have this organic substance in your system. Your body gets used to it, and therefore this synthesis of nucleic acid like DNA are well in tune with the body. So any woman of a reproductive age who is expecting to be pregnant, it's important to take folic acid daily.
Are there some positive effects and negative effects of the intake of folic acid? I.e., if you take it, does it have any negative effects depending on maybe how you take it?
So anything that is done in the wrong order can bring issues. Even the drugs we take which are prescribed have their own side effects. A study which was conducted in 2020 showed that if you give mice 20 times the normal dosage of folic acid, it's rather going to impair development. So yes, you don't take it overdose. That is why it is prescribed by the physician, and it's usually a tablet a day. So you don't take 2 tablets because you think it's so important, you want to even facilitate your pregnancy. No.
People, you still tune into ATL FM 100.5. This is the Atlantic Wave. We're on the issue segment on the Atlantic Wave, proudly brought to us by Salgin Medical Center. My guest, Dr. Eric Aidoo, with the Department of Anatomy and Cell Biology. We are looking at the role and significance of folic acid in embryogenesis. And when you take it well, what happens to you? I mean, I'm sure all the negatives that may come is going to be able to solve it for you.
So it's important to know that it's not only neural tube defects like the brain and the spinal cord that the folic acid helps. Even in the proper formation of the heart, it's been known that fetuses from rodents that were not given the folic acid early before the rodents were actually the litter was given birth to will have very thin membrane of heart muscles. Okay. Apart from that, red blood cells, which also carry oxygen in the body, is maximized in terms of its production by the presence of folic acid. So people who are anemic, okay, people who have sickle cell, sometimes are advised to take a folic acid a day. So it's important to note that folic acid doesn't only play a role in the proper formation of the head and the brain and the spinal cord, but also
they help in the synthesis of
red blood cells.
Yes,
well. Absolutely.
We're wrapping up the conversation, though, but what would you want to leave us with? So we'll be able to prevent what you brought in into the studio, the baby with a malformed cranium and all that. What message are you leaving with us?
So my message will be that for any woman who is expecting a baby, don't wait till your menses ceases in the next month. And we are talking about 4 weeks interval. So once you're expecting a baby, be conscious that you test. Okay? You test frequently to note that, because like I said, those 4 weeks are the vital stages for proper formation of the major vital organs in our body. So women who are of reproductive ages and are expectant of having pregnancies should be testing early and also be put on folic acid.
Thank you very much, Doc, for your time this morning. We're grateful. Right, so people, great. Have a beautiful day. People, this is where we end the conversation. My guest in studio, Dr. Eric Aidoo, with the Department of Anatomy and Cell Biology here in your University of Competitive Choice. We have some other more conversations coming your way. Remember, it's all about the role and significance of folic acid in embryogenesis. This bit was brought to us by Salgin Medical Center. You're still tuning into ATL FM 100.5. Stay with us.